Happy Friday, everybody. It is November the 17th. Welcome back to the Jeff and Nick Show. Jeff, happy Friday. TGIF.
That's right. Happy Friday, Nick.
Happy
How you
Friday,
doing?
sir. I'm good. We're getting kind of busy there at Trader Joe's with all the turkeys.
Oh yeah,
Kind of getting
that
a
time of year.
little interesting with football season where it is. Joe Burrow's got a fractured wrist.
Dang. Out for the season.
Out for the season. 49ers have a test against the Bucks. You got that Monday Night Football game next week, the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Chief, that would be a good game.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
What are your initial thoughts? Do you need some Braves gear? Are you what's going on?
Yeah, man. With the A's and the announcement of it's been approved, the relocation. Just what a joke. Just terrible. I feel bad. Feel bad for the city. I feel bad for the area that I lived up. I grew up in. I feel bad for my friends up there. It's just a sad day for Oakland. It really seems like it's happening now. They still don't have a ballpark rendering. They still have zero renderings. I was reading today that there was actually like seven to eight owners who wanted to vote no. But then like the ringleader of that guy died, I guess recently. And the commissioner basically
the Padres owner.
Oh, it must be the Padres guy then, yeah, because they just said he died like this week. And it was the Padres guy, right? The owner?
Yeah.
So he was the ringleader of that to say no. And I guess that jackass, that mother effer Manfred basically strong armed the other and said, no, you guys need to fall in line and go with it. So it's just terrible. It just sucks. It's just a terrible situation of a team that's been there for what, 60, 70 years, just to lose, just get up and move. They have no place to play. Why would anybody even go? Instead of, they want to do like a boycott on opening day. And I'm like, you should boycott the whole season. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't know. I feel bad. Like, I'm conflicted. I want to root for the players, but I can't root for the owner and the GM, not the GM, the president, Dave Cavall, and the owner, John Fisher. I can't get behind anything that they're selling anymore. And I completely stopped wearing any of the gear. I stopped pretty much last year. I'm not going to buy anything anymore. I'm not going to go to any of the games. I'm not going to spend any 1 cent on Oakland, anything. Just sad. Like, I want to still root for them, for the players, because it's not the players, you know what I mean? But it just sucks, man. It just really sucks. I feel bad.
There were some things about that opened my eyes. He had been working with the city of Oakland for 18 years.
Well,
to try to get a ballpark, but that's also on him, because if they're coming to him with the kind of proof that they can build a stadium, they just need his okay. It's like, okay, cool. How long is this going to sit on your desk?
Yeah.
And how are you going to do this? And I saw an interview with Sal Pisano, who had played in Oakland during his days, where he's like, how do you... The field is immaculate, but everything else hasn't changed a minute since I played here. And we're talking, Sal Pisano is not young. He's old enough to be my dad.
Yeah.
I feel like. So we're talking 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, and it's the only franchise, the one thing that I this isn't to put salt on the wound, it's the only franchise that's moved 4 times.
Is that right? Yeah.
No other franchises move. I mean, Philadelphia, Kansas City, where they were in Kansas City for what, 2 years?
It was less than a decade for sure.
Yeah. And then off to Oakland and now to Vegas. So
yeah, man, it sucks. It sucks that Oakland's losing. I mean, they've lost all the teams in the span of, a decade here, and it just sucks. And for what's his name to say that he's been working for the city trying to get it for 18 years, I mean, that's just false. That's a blatant lie. John Fisher saying that, because they tried to move to Fremont, they tried to move to San Jose. They spent a decade trying to move to these other places outside. I mean, granted, it was the Bay Area, but not in Oakland. Like, they spent a decade trying to do that, and then the next decade, I guess, trying to get in Oakland, trying to get back in. They had a Laney College. They made an announcement, oh, we're moving to Laney College in Oakland. Had this ribbon cutting, had all this stuff, and then turns out like, oh, that land's not even available. So they're just basically incompetent owners and president there who are running the operations of the business side, at least.
Sounds like Al Davis.
Yeah, dude. And then they expect people, and then the fans get a bad rap. Like, oh, you don't go to games. Well, Oakland, nobody goes there anyway. Like, dude, Yeah, because one, they raised ticket prices, raised beer prices, and by also putting out a 110 team loss, like a 110 loss team on the field, but then jack up the prices on everything. Remember that reverse boycott that they had in June? They did that. Basically, everybody come out to show your sport. What did the A's do that day? They freaking jacked up the ticket prices just for that one day.
That
Like,
is
that's
so
the
weak.
kind of crap that we're dealing with. And like, people want to blame the fans. Like, go ahead. You want to be ignorant about it, blame the fans, go for it. But really look into it, and you realize that ownership is literally driven everybody away. Like, they don't care about us. They don't want, no, I'm sorry, at least that. They want our money, but they don't want our support. Basically, they don't care about us. They don't care about the fans. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's heartbreaking to see them leave. And that seems like it's really going to happen this time. Granted, a shovel is not in the dirt. You know, we don't have that yet, but it's definitely looking like it.
Yeah,
And it
Manfred's done some things that Bud Selig got a bad rap for being the steroid commissioner, but Manfred, starting with the hunk of junk as a World Series trophy, like I can't get behind what you're
I hate
saying or
Manfred.
what you're doing.
I can't.
And
Nothing. It's
yeah,
ridiculous. Like, I don't understand how they can. I just don't. I just don't get it. I don't know how the owners could even approve this. How can they say, take a team out of the Bay Area, which is like the fourth highest market in the United States, to move to something that's going to be the lowest market? Like, I just don't get it. And to reward this owner who's ran a franchise into the ground, like, he's literally ran them into the ground. Why is he getting rewarded? You know what I mean? I just don't get it. I don't understand why this is happening. It's not even a money thing. Like, I really don't even think it's a money thing. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. And they're gonna go to Vegas. No one's gonna care. Like, it's gonna be Raiders games. It's gonna be, no one's gonna be there for the A's. They're not
Knights.
a new team. Yeah, the Knights are cool, but they established themselves as roots in Vegas. Like, they only have that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
rooted
And
in Vegas.
yeah, and
No,
yeah, dude. And like, but the A's aren't that, just like the Raiders aren't that. It
no.
just sucks. Like, it just really sucks, and I don't know what to do. I'm definitely not going to root for the Dodgers, because screw the Dodgers. They suck. I hate the Dodgers. I tried. I went to their game even against the A's. I was like, I'll try to root. I just can't do it. They were terrible. Screw the Dodgers. Don't want to root for them ever.
Sweet Braves it is. You got
It might
Matt
be the
Olson
Braves,
and
man. I used to root for the Braves, so it might be the Braves. We'll see.
there we go. All right,
But my little rant. Screw John Fisher. F that guy.
let's move on to something else. Bigger and better things.
All
Adam
right.
Sandler's The Waterboy,
The Waterboy.
released in 1998. I am almost certain
It was either 98 or
that I'm
99. Yeah.
not wrong. 1998, starring Adam Sandler, Kathy Bates, Henry Winkler as Arthur Fonzarelli, Mr. Coach Klein. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this movie. I can't tell you how many times I quote this movie. Jeff, how old were you when this movie came out? Where did you see it first? What were your thoughts when you saw it for the first time?
Let's see, 98. So I was probably 19. I was probably 19 years old, 18, 19, depending on when it was released. So I was right in that age. But, Waterboy, I've seen it a few times. Honestly, of the Adam Sandler movies, this is probably one of the fewer ones I've seen, especially of his 90s movies. Is probably one of the, I've seen Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and even The Wedding Singer like so many times. But I think The Waterboy, I've probably only seen a handful. There are definitely some parts that I remember, some parts that I had forgotten. But I mean, it's pretty good. It's funny. I really think, like, he had this great run of Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer, Waterboy, Big Daddy, with a Bulletproof movie with Damon Wayans mixed in there, which I remember, which actually was not too bad. But
That's right.
but I don't know, like, The Waterboy for me was, of those, I feel like it's kind of the weakest out of that bunch for me. I don't know. I think it was trying a little too hard with the kind of, I don't know. I just couldn't get in. I remember even seeing it then. Like, yeah, it was definitely funny. Don't get me wrong. Like, and there's definitely like parts that I laugh out loud about. But I don't know. I kind of found it annoying. Kind of found his character annoying, the way he talked, and I don't know. I kind of got a little annoyed with it at some points. I remember even thinking that back then, like thinking this isn't as funny as I thought it was going to be, and it kind of reaffirmed that when I saw it again here. But sounds like you really like it. Tell me what's your thoughts on it when you saw it, and and now, and does it hold up today for you?
So this still holds up to me for me today. This came after Happy Gilmore. After he did, I mean, his one of the first movies I ever saw him in was Airheads.
Oh
But
yeah, for sure.
this
Absolutely.
came right before he did Big Daddy. Right after, same year as The Wedding Singer, and it's hilarious because I was that guy that played football, got picked on, played football, and it's kind of it's one of those stories where it's like everybody's telling you to not do something.
Right.
How come I can't play foosball? Foosball's the devil. Well, let me guess, Vicky Valancourt's the devil too. She was really good in this as that felon. Whatever you do, Bobby, tell him I was with you between 2 and 4 last night.
Yeah.
I really like this story about Henry Winkler, where he calls Adam Sandler to thank him for putting him in the movie, or for putting him in the Hanukkah song. And the lyrics to the Hanukkah song are, guess who eats together at the Carnegie Deli? Bowser from Shananon, Arthur Fonzarelli. And so
I had totally forgot about that. I didn't even think about that.
So we called him. I had looked for the interview, and he had done a sit down with Rich Eisen, where he's on his show. He's wearing his Patrick Mahomes jersey, and he's talking about Adam Sandler and how people still come up to him today and talk about The Waterboy, where it's kids in college that are watching that movie on their way to a game. So for me, it's one of those where I think it's hilarious. I love Happy Days. I love the Fonz. Hang on.
Technical difficulty.
I love Happy Days. I love the Fonz. And then you get the Big Show at the beginning of it.
Well, it's the Big Show. Heck yeah. I totally forgot he was in this when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's right. The Big Show is in this.
Yeah. Who's your favorite wrestler growing up, Jeff?
What's that?
Who are some of your favorite wrestlers growing up?
Oh, man. Well, okay. So the early days, I mean, when I got into it, like in elementary school, it was all about Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. Those are my guys right there. Yeah, dude. I liked Ultimate Warrior a lot. Obviously, Hogan is, iconic, but I was kind of like an Ultimate Warrior. I really liked Brutus the Barber Beefcake too. I really liked him. I thought he was cool. I thought he was funny. I like those guys. And then as during like junior high school, maybe I probably kind of got out of it. But then, when it came back in the late 90s with, when it started with D-Generation X, with DX and Shawn Michaels, Triple H, X-Pac, and
Stone Cold.
Yeah, and Stone Cold comes in. Just, oh man, I was in college around that time, and like me and my roommate Roy, we were so into it, dude. We would record the Monday Night Raw if one of us had to work. He would go home and record. He had like the box, so he would go home and record. He'd record the special, the pay-per-views. So the SummerSlams and whatever ones they had, the WrestleManias and things like that. He would go back to his house in Fremont and record them and bring them back. And we'd watch them. Like, we'd have to watch it before Monday Night Raw, so we knew what happened before Monday Night Raw started. So it was a big thing. We went and we made signs. We had T-shirts, dude. We were into it, dude. We were really, really into it. I loved it. Great time. Like, yeah, it's great. I was a big wrestling fan. It was fun.
I like that. Yeah, Hulk Hogan was great. I was a lot in between. I went WWF, WCW, Sting. I didn't really like Diamond Dallas Page.
You don't like DDP?
I don't like DDP, especially his character in Ready to Rumble.
Oh, I never saw that, but I know he's in that.
Undertaker was a big one for me. Triple H. After he turned from Hunter Hearst Helmsley to Triple H.
I like
DX
when it went
was
to
huge.
Hardcore stuff, when the Dudley Boys came, and
ECW was great too. I remember ECW with Rob Van Dam. I got to meet him.
Dude was the friggin' Rob Van Dam. That was the craziest. Well, Mick Foley's actually the craziest dude, but Rob Van Dam's right there.
Yeah, but the ECW, if you go back and watch some of those fights,
Dudley Boys, Yeah, dude, those table matches, the what do you call it? The
Bam
barbed
Bam
wire
Bigelow.
matches. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, those are so
Barbed wire
good.
matches, fire matches.
Dude,
They did some
ECW
really.
was insane.
Yeah.
We used
It
to
was
watch. We
probably.
used to get like bootleg videos of those and watch them. Yeah,
Yeah. I had an ECW video game on the PlayStation.
nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Um. Did you see the thing that I kind of chuckled about at the beginning of this movie was the name of the university, South Central Louisiana State University.
Yeah, SCLSU,
SCLSU.
right? That's got a big one. Yeah, I there were some funny parts of this movie. I love the line. I love when he goes to school and he's in college in that first class and he's like, "Why are the alligators so ornery? Because they have all those teeth and no toothbrush."
No toothbrush.
Mama said, "They're so ornery because they have all those teeth and no toothbrush." I'm like, that's hilarious. I don't know who wrote that, but that's hilarious. That writer should get it. I don't know if Sandler wrote that, but that's a funny line, man.
Something's wrong with your medulla oblongata.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
The biggest thing to me is I really like how quotable this movie is, especially with football fans or with, movie fans in general. I wouldn't say it's as quotable as Varsity Blues, like not necessarily on the same level of pop culture, but I do definitely pull some things from this movie from time to time.
That's cool. I wrote down like, why is Kathy Bates in this movie? Like, she's an Academy Award winning actress, man. She's slumming it in The Waterboy. I always find that funny. Like when you see, pretty accomplished actors in like these types of movies, the very lowbrow humor. Like isn't Big Daddy? Isn't John Turturro? Not Big Daddy, Mr. Deeds. Like John Turturro's in that.
He is
like,
in Mr. Deeds, yeah.
They're just like random, like pretty high profile, pretty like serious. I guess John Turturro has some funny ones, but I don't know. Kathy Bates in the Adam Sandler movie is just kind of funny.
Well, not only that, and then who else was in this? What was Vicky Valancourt's name? That was Fairuza Balk.
Fairuza Balk.
She was in American History X.
Yep, and she was in The Craft, which they made a funny. I don't know if they made a reference, if this was on purpose, but they said something like, "Let's get out of here before she casts a spell on us." And in The Craft movie, she was a witch. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if that was a little reference to it or not. But I don't know when The Craft came out. If it was before or after this, but
it was shortly. It was around the same time because I remember.
The same time, so I wonder. They had to have known that she played that. I feel like that was intentional. That was kind of a cool little
96.
Oh, then definitely, yeah. I like that was a cool little nod to her other character of being a witch in The Craft. Did you know that this is the highest grossing sports comedy of all time?
What's the second one?
I didn't look that up. I just saw it. I wasn't expecting. I'm not taking questions right now, Nick. I'm only giving facts. I'm surprised to see that.
What is that, BMO commercial? I didn't agree to this interview. Come on, BMO, we need your sponsorship.
I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look we'll have that for Mount Huddles next time. But that was interesting that, this was 98, it's 25 years ago. That is still the highest gross. But I guess they don't really have
5 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I guess there's not many, most sports movies are more serious than comedies, right? So
I mean,
like comedies like Bad News Bears and I don't know, is Major League considered a sports comedy? But that's not breaking 200 million, I'm sure, like this movie did.
No, and especially with it being Adam Sandler and Henry Winkler, I mean, you're pushing those guys from the top because it's not Kathy Bates isn't part of it. She's just Mama, But what Mama don't know don't hurt her.
Yeah,
what
the foosball.
Are you a Roy Orbison fan?
I mean, I like the hits,
Yeah.
Pretty
like
Woman,
You Got It or Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
I liked him in The Chadwick Wilburys a little bit more.
Yeah, he was good in that.
Yeah. What what the moral of the story is?
What?
Don't let anybody tell you that anything else is the devil. Go out with Vicky Valancourt and play the foosball.
That's right.
The soundtrack on this was great too.
Was it? Yeah. It was good, like rock music, right?
Yeah. What were you gonna? You were gonna say something. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, that team SCLSU, they had a 40-game losing streak. That's a lot, man. That's like the 5 years. I mean, the longest one in Division I was 34 games by Northwestern from 79 to 82. And they got, what, six more games than that, another half season. So that's
they went to 41 because they lost the first game of the year.
Oh, yeah. So 1 to 41. So, yeah. 41 games. That's a lot.
You lost us the game, Bobby. Yeah. But he's so hilarious because he has so many of the same people that are doing the same movies, like Rob Schneider, Peter Dante.
Yeah, the quarterback, right? Is Dante?
Yeah. And then, he's they actually call him Dante in Grandma's Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dante.
that's hilarious. He's the drug dealer.
Yeah.
No.
The one guy the main guy from what do you call it? Grandma's Boy, the main actor. I don't know his name offhand. He's not in this movie though, right? Because you saw the old guy, the guy mumbles a lot, speaks in that,
yeah, Blake Clark.
Yeah, the Everglades type, the jargle. And then you have
Alan Covert. Alan Covert. He's in this movie. He's one of the fans.
Oh,
he's the one that says, he's the best linebacker since Joe Montana. Joe Montana was a quarterback, you idiot. I didn't say Joe Montana. I said Joe Montana.
That was good.
Yeah.
I love how Sandler always has those same guys. It's kind of cool, to have the same people in his movies, cast his friends and stuff like that. I think that's cool. Good for him.
Right. And then right after this, he started the Happy Madison production company.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I noticed it wasn't on this one.
No, I think he starts it a little bit later, probably Mr. Deeds.
Okay.
But he's great. I love his movies. I love his comedy. Saturday Night Live for him, it's kind of like he branched away and did so well after that. And then he's still doing very well for himself. Playing basketball with his kids. What movie was it where
I heard he can ball. So much. I heard he can hoop.
Yeah. I feel like he does. When they do the NBA All-Star Game, they have the celebrity game right before, and he's part of it with Nick Cannon and all of his kids. You ready to open up a can of whoop-ass?
What's your favorite Adam Sandler movie then?
Oh, that's tough. Billy Madison.
Of these 90s ones.
Of the 90s ones?
Yeah.
Billy Madison. Yeah. I mean, him and Chris Farley are friggin' hilarious together. Happy Gilmore is great too. But Billy Madison is definitely one of my favorites. What about yours?
Yeah. Happy Gilmore. It's Happy Gilmore for me. I say a lot of quotes from that movie. I love that movie. What's his name? Shooter McGavin. It's just the best in that movie. Chris McDonald. He's so great. He's just best villain.
He's hilarious.
Funny villain. He's great. I love Adam Sandler in that one. I like that one because he's not playing like, he's playing more of a, I'd say normal, but you know what I mean? Like he's not an idiot like in Billy Madison. He's not like, has Asperger's here like in Waterboy. I think that's what I saw something like that somebody asked like, what does he technically have? Because it wasn't really disclosed. Somebody said like Asperger's. So I like Happy Gilmore because it seemed like he's more grounded, like a normal person. But just being ridiculous and like short-tempered. I love it.
So the soundtrack on this, it had CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Charlie Daniels Band, Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You had The Doors, The Animals, and it's just such Southern, like that soulful Southern music. John Mellencamp, a little bit of Joe Walsh with his New Year's Eve, Rush with Tom Sawyer.
Mm.
And to me, it's just one of those, like the next movie we're going to talk about has a really good soundtrack as well. But I thought that this one, the soundtrack was perfect for the movie. I thought Henry Winkler was great. But how long was Meanie in college? Like how could you still have any NCAA qualifying? I forget what it's called. Any
Scholarship? What are you saying? What do
Not a
you?
scholarship. No, dude's been on a college football team for 30 some odd years, for 25
Oh,
years. Like,
eligibility. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. How much eligibility does this guy have?
Yeah.
He spits in his water when he's a kid, and then he spits in his water when he's an adult. What's going on
Seriously.
here?
Let's move
So,
on, man. Let's move on.
yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It was funny. It was good. I do have a funny Henry Winkler. I don't know if it's a story, honest story, but so Henry Winkler, the Fonz. When I first, well, I don't say first, but at our offices at Edmonds, back in the day, probably like mid 2000s, probably. If you remember, he did the next version of the Hollywood Squares. Remember that game show where X gets the square and you got to do basically tic-tac-toe. They ask questions, and then the people saying they believe the person or not, the celebrity that's in one of the squares. They say they believe them or not, and if they get it right, they get their X or O, and if not, the other person gets it. Anyway, so he produced that show, the second coming of that show, with the reboot of it in the mid 2000s, and his offices were right below ours. So we saw him all the time. I would see him all the time. Let me just tell you right now that this dude is the nicest guy you will ever meet in your entire life. Fame clearly did not go to this guy's head. Henry Winkler he's very soft spoken. He's just very polite. Anytime you see him, hi, how are you? I only saw him in the elevator and once like in the lunch, in like the cafeteria where you can get food. And I saw him once there. He said hi to me every single time. He never really knew my name, but he knew that he saw me. He holds the elevator. He knew to hit what floor I'd go to. He just, how was your day? How was yesterday? Like in the elevator, just make a little small talk. Nicest guy. It was great. Oh, every time I saw him in the elevator, I got excited because it's like, oh, cool. I'm gonna actually have a fun interaction with a nice man, regardless if he's famous or not. It's just a nice dude to talk to. Some guy who's polite and nice and actually seems to care about people.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
couldn't
that.
have nicer things to say about Henry Winkler. Nicest guy, and from everything I've heard too is that he's actually like that to everybody. From what I've heard, the Fonz is just the nicest dude in the world, which is refreshing to see because you hear so many bad stories about some actors in Hollywood. But Henry
Did you
Winkler,
ever watch Happy Days reruns?
I mean, I've seen them. I know the Fonz. I couldn't really tell you much about it other than I know of it. I don't think I ever watched it really. Like I know of the Fonz, and Ron Howard was in it too, or something like that.
Ron Howard was in it.
What the hell was that? Is that you? Who put that thing there? What's that? Did you see that?
No idea. I did see that.
Did you see that?
That was interesting.
Everybody not looking. There was like some bubbles with a bubble like
up. Yeah, it was a caption with a thumbs
up right there.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
That was great.
Was
we are going to move on to Dirk Diggler in Invincible. Excuse me, that's Mark Wahlberg. You got me going off on tangents again. Released in 2006, starring Mark Wahlberg, Vince Papale, Elizabeth Banks, and Greg Kinnear as Dick Vermeil. I thought of that one on my own. I didn't even have to look that up. I was like, oh, that's Greg Kinnear. He's great.
Yep.
You get a little bit of Jim Croce right off the boat for the soundtrack. I think the biggest thing that I'm getting a lot of full out of these movies is how much I like these soundtracks. And we could talk about the best movies for soundtracks and the best movie soundtracks at a later point, because I think that's something that I'd love to talk about.
Yeah.
But
and that's something that's really died. That's not a big thing anymore. Movie soundtracks, they used to be a big deal. And it's not anymore.
Yeah. I like the orchestra, like we talked about last week with in our Back to the Future episode with scores. I could do a movie score like with Avengers or with Lord of the Rings, but give me a good movie soundtrack. Even when we talked about Chasing 3000, it was like the soundtrack goes with the movie, it goes with the times.
I know a guy who does like soundtrack stuff. He runs a blog, soundtrack.net. Go check it out, anybody. If anybody's interested in soundtracks, he runs it. His name's Dan. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but used to work at Edmonds and used to hang out. Yeah, he runs that, and he always gets interviews. I think he's even produced some of the soundtracks that didn't have it. He does the soundtrack and like the scores, and like just gets it and compiles it and makes an album out of it. He's done a few of those, so he's doing really well over there at soundtrack.net. I think it's still up. I haven't checked it in a while, but I would assume it's still going strong. So if you're interested, check it out.
This is a story about the 1976 Philadelphia Eagles under their first year with Dick Vermeil as coach. Now, did you have a chance to look at who the 1975 Eagles?
Mm-mm.
So, do you know the legendary defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dick LeBeau?
Dick LeBeau. Yeah, yeah.
He was a special teams
I mean, I
coordinator
know
on
of him.
that team. Yeah, I don't know him. I know of him, but he
Wow.
was a special teams coordinator on that team.
Oh,
They were four and
wow.
they were
That's great.
4-10. They were 4-10. Wow.
14
I
games.
14 game schedule with a 6-game um preseason.
Preseason. Yeah, I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Like 6 games. Did I read that right? 6-game preseason? Holy shit. That's so much, man. That's so many preseason games. What the hell were they doing for 6 games?
And then I'm trying to find the center. So the
bizarre.
center said that he didn't like anybody because he's a center, and he must have been super
That was
new.
funny. I love that. I'm a center. I hate everybody.
I hate
That
everybody.
was great.
I don't know. Jason Kelsey doesn't give me the feeling that he hates everybody. But it looks like it's Ron Liu out of Oregon State, if this is correct. But I'm not looking at 1976. Did you play football in the street as a kid, or on a field? What were some of your rules?
2 completions, first down, obviously. The 10 Mississippi before you can rush the quarterback, unless you call blitz. Only 1 blitz per 4 downs. Touchdowns were, a driveway to a driveway. And then cars come and you got to get out of the way.
Off.
That was pretty much it. It was that, and 2-hand touch. Yeah, that was pretty much it. And then, if we only had 3 of us, it'd be all-time quarterback. And then we just do. I was usually the all-time quarterback. I usually play with my few years younger cousin, so I was usually the all-time quarterback. I was
showing off the cannon.
So couldn't be theirs. Yeah, right.
Light pole was one of the things that we would do because we would play in the street, and there weren't nearly as many cars. Like, you look at the street that you live on and how many cars there are now. Imagine that empty with maybe a car or 2 on the street. Yeah. But all the way, those are your touchdowns. All right, cool. If you hit the car, you're out of bounds.
Yeah.
And we would play that all the time. That was one of my favorites.
I loved it.
But what were some of your thoughts about this movie?
Yeah, I mean, this movie's good. It's pretty cliched. It's a Disney movie. It's a Disney feel-good underdog story, and I think that if you take it at face value, it's a really good movie. They're not. Again, I think I said this before in other movies. Like, they're not breaking any ground here. There's nothing. There's nothing overtly special or groundbreaking about this movie. It knows what's lane it's in, and it's staying in it, man. It's a Disney feel-good underdog story, and that's what they do best, right? That's what Disney does. They bring the feels, and I think it's a good movie for those purposes. If you look at it in that thing, in that spectrum there of that type of movie, it's a really good movie. It does the trick, brings a guy, 30-year-old Vince Papale down on his luck. The Philadelphia is striking. The union workers are striking. He's down on his luck. His wife leaves him. And, you can tell from the very first football, the first football game, that absolutely brutal football game they were playing, like just laying dudes out with elbows in the face. You could tell that he, obviously was a little bit more skilled than all of them. And then, you got to the tryouts and you could clearly see he's heading above, all the players that are there, just with the quickness.
Who is varsity high school?
2 years. What I gotta say? Go Eagles, go! Or fly Eagles, fly! Like, oh god, Eagles fans, jeez. Yeah, it's a good story. It's a good down on his luck, bringing up, and and it was really to bring up the city too. I mean, he brought, you can tell through the course of the movie how he it's not just him doing it for himself, which obviously it is, but it's him. He's doing it for his friends because his friends know, like, dude, you're good, and like you have better things in you that need to come out. And so he did it for his friends, but he also did it like for the city that was going through a very hard time, or just that part of the city, that blue collar, those blue collar workers, and that were affected during that strike. He gave them that hope, that just something for them to look up to, something for them to get excited about, something for them to feel good about, that they don't have any income coming in right now, but at least you could see a dude that's one of them playing on their favorite team. Like I've never been to Philly, but from what I understand, like it is all about the Eagles. Like they are a deeply rooted sports team and a deeply rooted sports city, and they care deeply about their sports there. And he really was able to embrace that and give light in that darkness during that time. So really good movie in those senses. What do you think? Was this, how many times have you seen this movie? I'd only seen this movie once, and I saw it on DVD when it came out.
This was
good to revisit it. Yeah. Only one. Did you see it in theaters or on after it came out?
I just saw it Wednesday.
Oh, that was your first time seeing it?
That was my first time seeing it. I turned it on.
Okay.
And I was like, I'll watch an hour of it. I'll watch the next hour tomorrow. Yeah. And I couldn't turn it off.
Oh, good.
I couldn't turn it off. It was one of those where I got sucked in because I like Mark Wahlberg. He's done really good things. His role in The Departed. He's hilarious in The Other Guys.
Yeah. Bye, Brenda. Whatever the wife's name was.
Yeah, she's great. Elizabeth Banks. She's also in Scrubs, isn't she?
She is in Scrubs. You're right. Yeah. She is in Scrubs. She's one of the doctor. Yeah.
And
goes out with JD. Yeah.
Yeah, she's newbie's fling aside from Elliot.
Yeah, what did you think? He looked pretty good, catching the ball. He looked pretty legit.
He looked pretty fair. I mean, I know he's athletic. You definitely can tell that. I think he's also one of those. Yeah, super buff. He's one of those that I feel like he plays in those celebrity all-star basketball games as well.
Yeah.
But the Santa Claus incident was an actual thing, and it happened in '68. And the Eagles were struggling with a 2-11 season. Like, what is up? This franchise, I feel like this franchise and the 49ers were so bad in the 60s and 70s that it's like you could have thrown candlesticks at Santa Claus and it would have been along the same lines of throwing snowballs at him. You there? All right, well, while I wait for Jeff to get back, the soundtrack on this movie, hey, there he is. He's back. What happened to you?
It's weird. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. It got like something that said like your clip has been uploaded. I don't know why. I'm not sure. Things are going weird things with my computer today.
We're all right. We're still on. So the soundtrack to this movie, I started with Jim Croce, I Got a Name. But you go through this, and there's just so many good songs on this soundtrack. Let It Ride by Bachman Turner Overdrive. Ride. I couldn't figure out who sang that song for the life of me. Little Steely Dan, Carole King. How Long is by Ace. How Long. Little Canned Heat. Grand Funk Railroad.
Not the Jamiroquai Napoleon Dynamite song, right? A different Canned Heat.
Different I mean, I'd have to see Napoleon Dynamite. You're gonna hate me on that one.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Rod Stewart, A Little Mandolin Wind. That's right. And then Rare Earth, I Just Want to Celebrate. And Ted Nugent with Stranglehold. I feel like that was a song that was in another movie that I talked about where I was like, oh, they got a little Ted Nugent in here with a Stranglehold. But yeah, I thought it was, I thought the love story didn't need to happen. I was waiting for you to call it a wet blanket, but she was something good to look at.
Yeah, it wasn't pushed super hard on it, so I was okay with it because it didn't take too much away from it, in my opinion. Like, it was fine. She was definitely in the background. It definitely didn't need it. But again, have to have it apparently in all these movies. But I feel like it wasn't as bad because it wasn't forced. I bet if they would have made this movie like 2 hour plus, or however long, I think it was an hour 45. They would put another 15 minutes into it. I bet you it would have been all about love story. It would have been way too much.
Disney doesn't do overbound love stories unless it's about its princesses.
That's true. I mean, it was a PG movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was surprised because there's a lot of it. The football's not real. You know, there's no way he's blown through blockers like that on punt returns and kick returns. And
barely getting touched. Yeah.
Barely getting touched. I mean, yeah, he's fast. He runs a 4.5 40, but you know, he's getting pummeled in training camp, and then during the games, he's blowing through people. Like, find a way to block this guy. No, he's.
Yeah.
I really like the give and take between Mark Wahlberg and Greg Kinnear. You know, and I'd like to go into this and, you know, find out a little bit more about it, just because I was really intrigued by that by the story. You know, I'd love to read about the story instead of reading about, you know, watching a made for TV movie.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, you know, Dick Vermeil, from what I hear, he's a really nice guy. He's like we kind of talked about nice guy of Henry Winkler. From what I've heard, Dick Vermeil is an absolutely great guy also, from everything, all the accounts that I've heard. You know, and, you know, good for him. Like, you know, what an amazing thing to do, to really have that foresight to like, okay, look, let's do something to energize the city. Like, our football team's bad. You know, I'm coming in here brand new. I'm coming from, you know, the West Coast. What can I do to breathe some life into this organization, and, you know, have open tryouts, and, you know, to get somebody to take the time to identify someone that contributed and helped the team. Like, that's a really amazing thing for him to do. And it's not something that I don't think happens today. You know what I mean? I know there's undrafted players and stuff that get signed to teams, but like open tryouts, like that doesn't happen. There's no like, hey, city, hey, San Francisco, come and try out for the 49ers. Like, that doesn't happen. You have to be invited.
So,
you know, talk to.
Correct. I had gone to an open tryout for the Philadelphia Soul football team. They were recruiting players for their football team, and I think they took 2 or 3. But this was maybe 14, 15 years ago. They did the tryout at Carson. And I did an article, and I did a video. We put a video together. It's somewhere in the internet, but I can't find it because.
Did you try out?
I didn't try out. I just did. No, I didn't try out. I wouldn't. I played freshman year in high school. Like, I'm not one of those that's gonna get my friggin' head chopped off. These dudes are in serious shape. But there were some guys that were at the tryout that definitely looked like they could play ball still. He was Matt Barkley's backup at Mater Dei. And there were a couple other guys that could play, but I think they only took 1 or 2. And each time, I think the guy that was the GM of the Philadelphia Soul team, he wound up moving on to Tampa. Philadelphia wound up winning the Arena Cup, or whatever their championship is called. That's cool. So, and then the guy who was the head coach is the one that was the inspiration behind the 4-6 defense. But fun, yeah. So,
right on. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, going back to the plays and stuff, the footage of him covering, I think that happened. I think he really did mess up like that. His very first one. I feel like I didn't look this up this time, but I can look for next time we can do that.
Mount Huddles.
But I feel like I remember this from before. Like, that actually happened. Like, he got like benched. Like, his first one out there, he was very hesitant. I don't think it was as pronounced as they showed it in the movie, but I think he missed his assignment, and Coach Vermeil like chewed him out and, you know, get your ass to the bench. And which I also really like, because, you know, that could have easily gone, like when he messed up that first one, that could have easily gone like, oh, you know, it's okay, I still believe in you. You know, you just keep doing what you're doing. Give me all that you got. No. And then, you know, Vic Vermeil, like, sit your ass down. I put my neck out for you. That was terrible. You know, I like that, because it could have easily gone the Disney way and, like, you know, let's hold his hand and make sure he's okay. But, you know, they stuck with the I mean, hey, Dick Vermeil, at the end of the day, he's got to win a football game. You know, he's there to win a football game. He's not there to make friends and hold this dude's hand. So I really like that, just that little detail. Yeah, he did not score a touchdown, though. I do know that. Like, they showed him scoring that touchdown. That did not happen. I think he did cause a fumble, but there was no, he did not record a touchdown and run it back. I think he might have recovered the fumble and ran it back a little bit, but it was that was definitely that was Disneyfied right there, him scoring that touchdown. That did not happen.
So let's see. There were some things I'm going through, and Mark Wahlberg is 5'8", Vince Papale is 6'2". I saw a little bit of similarities when he's running through Philadelphia to Rocky.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, Greg Kinnear researched his role by spending time with Dick Vermeil during his final year as the head coach of the Chiefs.
Oh, the Chiefs. Is that where he went after?
After the Rams.
That's where he went after the Rams, yeah.
But,
I mean, geez, Dick Vermeil, like, if you think about that's 2 movies Dick Vermeil has characters. You know what I mean? Like, he's in 2 movies. You know, the Kurt Warner one, I'm sure I haven't seen it. That Kurt Warner movie that came out, I think, this year or last
recently,
year.
yeah.
He's obviously in that.
Yeah, because
he's obviously going to be in that, and he's in this. Like, how many other coaches can kind of really say that? Like, hey, man, yeah, we're kind of the focus of 2, or I mean, not focus, but the coach of 2 movies about one guy, like, that took chances on these people. You know, the Vince Papale, and then and the other one, Kurt Warner. It's kind of cool. Good for Dick Vermeil.
Yeah, right.
Glad he got his Super Bowl. Even though I don't like the Rams. Good for him for getting his Super Bowl.
Yeah, you could have got a Super Bowl. Oh, you got a Super Bowl with Philadelphia. Yeah, that's the only one that matters. Tennessee beat you. That's all I'll remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, Tennessee lost.
No, I know.
They beat
I'm
Tennessee.
Messing. Jeff, I'm messing.
Oh, God.
Because there's always all these Rams fans that say, "Oh, where have you been this whole time?" I've still been a 49er fan. Still a 49er fan. You're not changing that. So, all right. And with that, we're going to wrap. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. We will be back after Thanksgiving, after stuffing ourselves full with turkey and all the fix-ins, and talking about what our favorite fix-ins are, and the Niners Seahawks game as well.
That's right.
Until next time, everybody, thank you, Jeff. Happy Thanksgiving. Safe travels.
Happy Thanksgiving, Nick.
Thank you. And I will talk to you soon, sir.
All right, buddy.